The warship tore through the void at speeds that would have vaporized any vessel not built by the Kelthar Empire. Commander Jake Holland gripped the restraints as another plasma burst rocked the hull. Alarms screamed through the bridge. 3 enemy destroyers closing fast. No backup for another hour. His crew of 12 against an entire battle group. "Shields at 18%. Lieutenant Nina Cross shouted over the chaos. Her fingers danced across tactical displays while red warning lights bathed her face in crimson. "We can't take another volley." Jake's jaw clenched. The cargo bay held something worth dying for. Princess Liara of the Kelthar sat in medical, her silver blood still leaking from wounds her own people had given her. She'd been left for dead on a frontier colony. Abandoned. Betrayed. Now her father's fleet wanted her back, but not to save her. To silence her. "Engine room, give me everything," Jake barked into the comm. "You'll blow us apart," Chief Warren Knox fired back. The engineer's voice crackled with static and fear. "Then we blow apart moving forward." The ship lurched. Nina's console exploded in sparks. She didn't flinch, just switched to backup systems and kept firing. That's why Jake kept her. That's why any of them stayed. They were the ones who didn't run when the universe showed its teeth. Another hit. Deck plates buckled. Somewhere behind them, a bulkhead gave way. The void screamed through the breach until emergency seals slammed shut. Jake heard someone scream. Hoped it wasn't Warren. "They're hailing us," Nina said. Her voice stayed level even as her station burned. "Ignore it. They're offering terms," returned the princess. "Walk away alive." Jake looked at the medical bay camera feed. Lyra had dragged herself upright despite her injuries. Those alien eyes, bright as stars, stared directly at the camera, at him. She'd trusted him. Trusted humanity. That meant something. "Tell them to choke on vacuum," Jake said. Nina smiled. Savage. Beautiful. "With pleasure, Commander." The Kelthar responded with every weapon they had. The universe turned white with fire. Hull integrity dropped to critical. Life support flickered. The ship screamed like a wounded animal. But humans didn't build their ships just to take punishment. They built them to bite back. "Nina, angle us toward that debris field." "Warren, I need the reactor at 120%. "That's impossible," Warren shouted. "Make it possible, or we're already dead." The destroyer came at them head on. Confident. Arrogant. They thought they'd won. They thought humans would break. They thought wrong. Jake slammed his fist on the manual override. The reactor howled like a caged beast breaking free. Every system redlined. The ship punched forward with acceleration that should have liquefied the crew. Inertial dampeners barely held. Nina's nose bled. Jake tasted copper. Nobody stopped working. The debris field loomed ahead. Shattered remains of a colony station massacred 3 months prior. Twisted metal and frozen corpses. The Kelthar destroyers followed without hesitation. They wanted blood. They'd get it. "Wait for it," Jake whispered. His hands hovered over weapons control. The lead destroyer entered the field. "Wait, Jake, they're locking weapons," Nina said. Her voice carried an edge now. Fear and fury mixed together. "I know, Warren. Kill the engines." All of them. The ship went dark. Momentum carried them deeper into the debris. The destroyers spread out, trying to box them in. Perfect. Jake counted seconds. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. 4, 3. "Nina, light them up. Everything we have." The darkness erupted. Every missile tube launched simultaneously. Railguns spat tungsten death. Laser batteries carved molten scars across enemy hulls. The destroyers scattered, but the debris trapped them. Their own tactics turned into a cage. One destroyer clipped a chunk of station and spun wildly. Its shields collapsed. Nina didn't miss. 3 torpedoes punched through its core. The ship became an expanding ball of plasma and regret. 2 left, Nina reported. Reloading. We don't have time. Jake brought engines back online. Straight through. Ram them if we have to. The medical bay door hissed open. Lyra stepped onto the bridge. She shouldn't have been walking. The wounds across her torso should have killed her hours ago. But Kael'thar didn't die easy. Neither did humans who refused to quit. "You're risking everything for me," she said. Her voice carried harmonics that made human speech sound flat. Why? Because it's right. Jake didn't look away from his controls. Your people left you to die. We don't do that. My father ordered this. King Vexner himself. Then your father's a coward. The bridge went silent. You didn't insult the most powerful being in 3 sectors. Not if you wanted to keep breathing. Lara's expression shifted. Something like respect. Something like hope. There's a reason he wants me dead, she continued. I discovered what the Empire truly is. What they've been hiding. The colonies they've destroyed weren't rebellion. They were witnesses. The second destroyer opened fire. Plasma washed over their failing shields. Alarms reached a fever pitch. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 5. Atmosphere venting. The crew in those sections had maybe seconds. "Seal those decks," Jake ordered. His voice stayed cold, mechanical. If he felt it, he'd break. "Warren, reroute life support to critical areas only." "That'll kill anyone still alive down there," Warren protested. "They're already dead. Save who we can." The words tasted like acid, like failure. But command meant making choices that carved pieces from your soul. Jake had plenty of scars already. A few more wouldn't matter. "The third destroyer is flanking," Nina said. "They're going for engines." Liara moved to an auxiliary console. Her fingers flew across controls designed for human hands. "I can override their targeting systems. Give me 30 seconds. "You can what?" Nina stared. "I'm Kael'thar royalty. Our ships respond to my genetic signature. They never removed my access. They assumed I'd die too quickly to matter." Jake felt something shift. Not hope, not yet, but possibility. "Do it." Lyra's hands moved faster. Code streamed across displays. The pursuing destroyers wavered. Their weapons swung wildly, tracking ghosts. Nina seized the opening. Railgun fire stitched across the third destroyer's engines. It tumbled away, crippled. The last destroyer retreated, jumped to faster than light, and vanished. Gone. The battle was over. Jake's hands shook. He gripped the armrests until his knuckles went white. They'd survived. Barely. The ship groaned around them, dying but not dead yet, just like the crew. "Damage report," he managed. "We're flying wreckage," Warren said. "But we're flying." Lyra collapsed. Nina caught her before she hit the deck. Silver blood pooled beneath them both. "Medical, now," Jake snapped. "No." Lyra grabbed Nina's arm. Her strength shocked them both. "First, you need to know. My father didn't just want me dead. He wanted what I know buried. The Empire has been harvesting sentient species. Billions. And humanity is next on the list." The medical bay smelled like ozone and alien blood. Dr. Claire Hoffman worked with steady hands while Lyra explained everything. Each word felt like a hammer blow, each revelation worse than the last. "The harvest happens slowly," Lyra said through gritted teeth. Claire's instruments dug into her wounds, extracting shrapnel. "First, The Empire identifies species with potential. Humanity caught their attention 50 years ago when you began reaching beyond your system. Jake stood against the wall, arms crossed, face carved from stone. And then what? Infiltration, cultural analysis, weakness assessment. Then the Empire offers alliance, trade, protection. Species accept because they see only opportunity. They don't see the trap closing. Nina leaned forward. What kind of trap? Dependency. Technology that only KLTHAR engineers can maintain. Economic systems that funnel resources to the Empire. Military agreements that place our forces on their worlds. Within a generation, the species can't function without us. Then we tighten our grip, Claire cursed under her breath. Her hands never stopped moving. And after that, systematic extraction. We take their best minds, their strongest warriors, their genetic material, everything useful. The rest are relocated to reservation worlds, contained, controlled. Eventually, they forget they were ever free. Jake's fists clenched. How many species? 43 fully processed, 12 in active harvest. Humanity would be 13. The medical bay went quiet except for the hum of equipment. Warren appeared in the doorway. His face was streaked with grease and exhaustion. We've got maybe 6 hours before the reactor eats itself. And that's if I perform miracles. Then perform them, Jake said. We need to reach Coalition space. Get this information to someone who matters. The Coalition won't believe you, Liara warned. They've been compromised for decades. Half their leadership are Empire assets. The other half are too scared to act. Then we go over their heads, straight to Earth. Liara's eyes widened. You can't. Earth defense grid will destroy any unknown vessel approaching their space, especially one broadcasting KLTHAR energy signatures. We'd be vapor before we could explain.
Nina stood abruptly.
Then we find another way. There has to be someone. Anyone who'll listen. There is. Liara tried to sit up. Claire shoved her back down. Admiral Karen Price. She commands the Frontier Defense Station at Haven's Edge. She's investigated Empire activities for years, been blocked at every turn, but she knows something is wrong. Price had a reputation. Hard, uncompromising. She told the Coalition Council to investigate Empire trade deals 6 times, been ignored 6 times. If anyone would listen, it'd be her. If she didn't shoot them first, Haven's Edge is 4 days away at maximum burn, Warren said. We'll be running on fumes and prayer by then, so we pray. Jake pushed off the wall. Get us moving. I want every non-essential system offline. Life support to minimal. Weapons cold. Everything goes to engines. The ship lurched into motion, limping through the void like a wounded animal. Behind them, the debris field scattered across 1,000,000 kilometers. Ahead, nothing but empty space and desperate hope. Hours passed. The crew worked in shifts, eating ration bars that tasted like cardboard, sleeping at their stations. Nobody complained. They'd signed up for this: exploration, discovery, fighting impossible odds. Just another day for humans stupid enough to reach for the stars. Jake found Lara in the observation deck. She stared at the passing stars with an expression he couldn't read. Alien faces didn't translate perfectly, but loneliness looked the same everywhere. Your father really ordered your death? He asked, without hesitation. I learned too much. Questioned too loudly. Became a liability. She turned to face him. In the Empire, loyalty means silence. I chose truth instead. That takes courage, or stupidity. I'm not sure which. Jake almost smiled. Welcome to humanity. We specialize in both. She studied him with those impossible eyes. "Why do you fight so hard? Your species is young, weak compared to the Empire. You should be terrified. We are terrified every day." "But terror doesn't mean surrender." He joined her at the window. "Humans learned something a long time ago. The strong prey on the weak only when the weak allow it. We stopped allowing it. And if you lose, if the Empire comes with full force, then we make them regret every inch, every life, every moment. We burn so bright they'll remember us forever." Liara was quiet for a long moment. "I think I understand now why the Empire fears you. Not for your weapons, not for your numbers, but for this refusal to accept defeat." "Damn right." The ship shuddered. Alarms blared. Nina's voice crackled over comms. "Contact. Multiple ships dropping from faster than light. Cathar signatures. They found us." Jake ran for the bridge. Liara right behind him despite Claire's shouted protests. The tactical display showed 6 vessels, not destroyers, cruisers, each one 5 times their mass, armed with enough firepower to crack planets. "They're hailing," Nina reported. The view screen activated. A face appeared. Sharp features, eyes like frozen stars, crown of dark metal fused directly to his skull. King Vexner himself. "Daughter," he said. His voice carried absolute authority. "You've caused considerable trouble." Lara stepped forward, her wounds forgotten, her fear buried beneath layers of pure defiance. "Father, come to finish what your assassins started?" Vexner's expression didn't change. King's didn't show emotion. "I came to offer mercy. Return home. Accept reconditioning. Your transgression will be forgotten. Reconditioning." Liara's laugh was bitter.
You mean memory erasure?
"Personality death. I'd rather burn. Then you'll burn with these humans." Vexner's gaze shifted to Jake. "Commander Holland. Impressive flying. Foolish but impressive. Release my daughter. I'll grant you swift deaths." Jake stepped beside Liara. "Counterproposal. We forget this happened. Everyone lives." The king actually smiled, cold as the void itself. "You bargain from a position of total weakness. My cruisers can destroy you in seconds. Maybe. But not before we transmit everything Liara knows. Every secret. Every crime. We've got it packaged and ready. One command, and it floods every comm channel in 3 sectors. Bluff. Complete bluff." They'd barely had time to catalog Lyra's information, but Jake's face showed nothing. Poker had been mandatory training at the academy. Right now, that mattered more than any weapon. Vexner leaned forward. "You're lying. Test me." Silence stretched. The cruisers held position. Weapons charged but not firing. Jake felt sweat run down his spine. His finger hovered over the comm trigger. If Vexner called the bluff, they were done. "Stand down," Vexner finally said. Not to Jake, to his fleet. The weapons powered down. The cruisers began withdrawing. Jake didn't let himself breathe yet. Didn't trust it. "You've bought time, Commander. Nothing more." Vexner's image flickered. "I'll be watching. When you fail, when humanity realizes the cost of defiance, I'll be there. And I'll make you watch everything you love turn to ash." The transmission cut. The cruisers jumped away, gone as quickly as they'd appeared. Nina exhaled explosively. "What the hell just happened? He believed us." Jake's hand shook now, adrenaline crash-hitting hard. "Or he couldn't risk us being right." "We need to actually create that transmission," Warren said, "before he figures out we were bluffing." Lyra gripped Jake's shoulder. Kael'thar's strength made him wince. "My father doesn't bluff back." He meant every word. We need to reach Admiral Price. Now, the next 3 days blurred together. Warren performed mechanical miracles, holding the reactor together with spare parts and engineering knowledge that bordered on witchcraft. Claire kept Lyra stable. Barely. The princess's physiology was rejecting human medical treatment. Her body was shutting down. I need proper Kael'thar medicine, Claire admitted. I'm keeping her alive but not healing her. Another week and her organs will fail. Jake stood over Liara's medical pod. She looked smaller now, fragile. Hard to believe she was royalty. Hard to believe she'd sacrificed everything for truth. Stay with us, he said quietly. We're almost there. Her eyes opened. If I don't make it, promise me something. Don't promise before you hear it. Jake smiled despite everything. Fine. What? Tell everyone, not just Admiral Price. Everyone. Flood every network, every channel. Make it impossible to ignore. The Empire survives on silence. Kill the silence and you kill their power. You'll tell them yourself. Jake. She grabbed his hand. Her skin felt cold. Promise. I promise. Heaven's Edge appeared on long-range sensors, a massive station orbiting a gas giant. Defensive platforms clustered around it like angry wasps. Enough firepower to hold off a small fleet. As Jake's battered ship approached, every weapon locked onto them. Heaven's Edge Defense Control. This is Commander Jake Holland requesting emergency docking. We have critical intelligence and a medical emergency. Static. Then a woman's voice. Hard, suspicious. Identify yourself properly. Authorization codes. Now. Jake rattled off his command codes, outdated by 3 years but still valid. We're carrying Princess Liara of the Kael'thar Empire. She's defecting with information about an imminent threat to humanity. More silence. Jake imagined Admiral Price weighing options, calculating risks, deciding if they were legitimate or the most elaborate trap ever conceived. You're either the bravest fool I've ever met or you're lying, Price finally said. Either way, you've got my attention. Docking Bay 7. Any hostile move and my guns turn you into particles. Clear? Crystal clear, Admiral. The station loomed larger. A city in space. Thousands of personnel. Dozens of ships. This was humanity's edge. The line between explored space and the vast unknown. If the Empire came, this would be the first target. They docked with a grinding shudder. The ship finally gave up. Reactor shut down. Life support failed. Emergency lights flickered and died. Warren's voice came through on battery backup. That's it. We're officially a derelict. She gave everything she had. So did we, Jake said. Good work, everyone. The airlock opened. Marines poured in. Weapons ready. Professional. Efficient. They secured the bridge in seconds. An officer stepped forward. Commander's insignia. Stand down and identify. Jake raised his hands. Commander Jake Holland. Behind me is Princess Liara. She needs immediate medical attention. The officer's eyes widened. He'd probably thought this was a joke. A mistake. Not actual Kael'thar royalty bleeding silver on a human medpod. Get a medical team here now! He barked into his comm. And someone wake up Admiral Price. Tell her it's real. Admiral Karen Price stood like a monument carved from iron and bad memories. Her office overlooked the docking bays through reinforced glass. She hadn't sat down since Jake started talking. Hadn't blinked, just absorbed every word with the focus of someone who'd been waiting years for confirmation of her worst fears. 43 species, she said finally. Processed. You're certain? Lyra provided documentation, genetic records, economic data spanning centuries. It's all verifiable. Jake slid a data chip across her desk. Everything's there. Price picked up the chip like it might explode. If this is accurate, we're looking at the largest systematic genocide in recorded history. And humanity is next. She finally sat. The chair creaked under her weight. Not from mass, but from the burden she carried. I've been screaming about Empire activities for 6 years. Council told me I was paranoid, seeing threats that didn't exist. They'd rather believe in peaceful coexistence than face hard truths. Will they listen now? They'll have to. Price activated her comm. Get me a secure channel to Earth Command. Priority Alpha. And I want our intelligence division analyzing this data immediately. Every byte, every file. Nina entered the office. She'd cleaned up, but exhaustion clung to her like a second skin. Admiral Lyre is asking for Commander Holland. Doctors say she's deteriorating fast. Jake stood. Price waved him away. Go. I'll handle the council. Your job is done, Commander.
Respectfully, Admiral, it's not.
Not until everyone knows. Price studied him. You really think broadcasting this will change anything? The Empire controls half the communications infrastructure in coalition space. They'll suppress it, discredit it, call it human propaganda. Then we make it impossible to suppress. We don't just send it to official channels, we flood everything. Military networks, civilian broadcasts, every listening post, every relay station. We make it viral before they can contain it. That's a violation of about 30 protocols. I know. Price almost smiled. I like you, Holland. You've got the same disregard for proper procedure that got me stuck out here. She tapped her desk. Do it. My communications officer will give you access. Burn every bridge, salt every field.
Make them hear us. Jake found Liara in medical.
Machines hummed around her. Human technology trying desperately to keep alien biology functioning. Claire hovered nearby, monitoring displays with the intensity of someone losing a battle. She's asking for you, Claire said, but make it quick. She needs rest. Liara's eyes opened when Jake approached. They'd lost some of their brightness. Fading stars. Did Price believe you? She's contacting Earth Command now, and we're about to make you famous across every human world. Good. Liara tried to smile. Failed. I need to tell you something. About my father. About why he really wants me dead. You said you discovered the Harvest program. That's part of it, but there's more. She struggled to sit up. Claire tried to stop her. Liara pushed through anyway. The Empire isn't just harvesting species for resources. They're searching for something specific, a genetic trait that appears randomly across different species. They've been collecting DNA samples for millennia.
Searching for what?
Immunity. There's a plague coming. The Empire's seers predicted it centuries ago. A biological weapon that will sweep across the galaxy, kill billions, maybe trillions. The only survivors will be those with this specific genetic marker. Jake felt ice spread through his chest, and humanity has it. 12% of your population carries the marker. Highest concentration we've ever found. That's why my father is so interested. Why he can't let you warn others. If humanity survives the plague while Empire worlds burn, the entire power structure collapses. So he'd rather kill us first. He'd rather control you, harvest the genetic material he needs, then eliminate the rest before you become a threat. He's been planning this for decades, positioning forces, establishing infrastructure. When the plague comes, the Empire will already own the cure. Nina burst into medical. Jake, you need to see this. Now. They rushed to the command center. Screens covered every wall, each one showing different feeds, news broadcasts, military channels, sensor networks, and on every screen, Kale-Thar ships, hundreds of them, pouring into coalition space like a steel flood. "They're not attacking," Price said. She stood at the center of organized chaos. Officers shouted coordinates. Analysts scrambled to make sense of impossible data they're deploying, taking positions around every major human colony, every trade route, every strategic asset. "It's an occupation," Lyra whispered. "He's moving now. Before you can warn anyone, before resistance can form." Price spun on her. "How long until they have total control?" "Hours, maybe less. Empire ships are faster, better armed, and they've been practicing this maneuver for years. You were always going to lose. Like hell." Price turned to her communications officer. "Send everything, every piece of data Holland brought. Broadcast it on every frequency. I want every human from here to Earth to know what's coming." "Admiral, the Empire will intercept," the officer protested. "Let them try. Humanity doesn't go quietly into the dark. Not while I'm breathing." The transmissions launched, millions of data packets screaming into the void, racing faster than light toward every human outpost. The truth unleashed like a virus, unstoppable, undeniable. Vexner's face appeared on the main screen. He looked calm, almost pleased. "Admiral Price, Commander Holland, Princess Lyra, how industrious you've all been." "You're finished," Price growled. "Everyone knows now, every human, every allied species. Your harvest ends today." "Does it?" Vexner tilted his head. "Look at your sensors, Admiral. My fleet surrounds Haven's Edge, surrounds Earth, surrounds every human world worth mentioning. Your transmissions changed nothing. Knowledge without power is just noise." Jake stepped forward. "You're wrong. Humans don't need power to fight. We just need a reason. You just gave us one." Vexner's expression shifted. Something like respect flickered across his face. "Brave words. Let's see if your species backs them with action. You have 1 hour. Surrender Haven's Edge. Surrender my daughter, or I demonstrate what happens when insects challenge gods." The screen went dark. Price looked at Jake, at Nina, at Liara struggling to stay conscious. "Well, Commander, we're out of tricks, out of time. Any brilliant ideas?" Jake thought about Earth, about colonies spreading across 100 worlds, about humans who'd clawed their way from caves to stars, who'd survived ice ages and wars and their own worst impulses, who'd looked at the impossible and said, "Not today." "Yeah," he said, "we fight." The hour ticked down like a countdown to extinction. But something strange happened, something Vexner hadn't anticipated. Humans didn't panic. They armed up. Every ship at Haven's Edge launched. Cargo haulers, mining vessels, personal transports, civilian craft never meant for combat. They formed a ragged wall between the station and the Empire fleet. Outgunned, outmatched, completely insane. "Civilian vessels, stand down," Price barked into the comm. "You're not military." "You don't have to do this," a gruff voice answered. "Freighter captain by the sound of it. Respectfully, Admiral, shove it." "Nobody enslaves humanity without going through us first." More voices joined. Dozens, hundreds, from every ship, every station. The transmissions had spread faster than the Empire could suppress them, and humans had made their choice. On Earth, defense fleets mobilized. On the colonies, Militias formed. On frontier worlds, settlements that had never seen military action began arming themselves with mining equipment and agricultural tools. Anything that could hurt, anything that could kill. Jake watched it unfold on the screens, felt something swell in his chest. Pride, terror, hope mixed with desperation. "They're really doing it," Nina whispered. "Every single one of them." Lara gripped Jake's arm. She'd insisted on being brought to command. Claire had objected. Liara had come anyway. "This is what my father fears, not your weapons." This. Unity in the face of annihilation. The hour expired. Vexnor appeared again. His calm had cracked, just slightly. "You choose death. So be it." The Empire fleet opened fire. Plasma tore through space. The civilian vessels scattered. Some exploded. Others returned fire with whatever they had. Impacts that should have been meaningless. Pinpricks against armor designed to withstand planetary bombardment. But there were so many, and humans had learned something about warfare over their bloody history. Quantity had a quality all its own. Haven's Edge defense platforms activated. Price had been stockpiling weapons for years, experimental railguns, prototype missiles. Technology that broke a dozen treaties. She'd been preparing for this without knowing when it would come. The battle became chaos. Empire cruisers targeted the platforms. Human fighters swarmed them like angry hornets. Each fighter knew they'd probably die. They attacked anyway, ramming when ammunition ran out, using their ships as weapons when nothing else remained. Jake grabbed a console. "Warren, can we get our ship functional?" "Negative. She's done. Reactors cold and staying that way." "Then we used the station's fighters." "Nina, you're with me." Price blocked his path. "You're not a pilot anymore, Commander. You're intelligence now." "With respect, Admiral, intelligence doesn't matter if we're all dead. I can fly. So can Nina. You need every pilot you can get." Price looked like she wanted to argue. Instead, she nodded. "Buy 3, take whatever's fueled. And Holland, make it count." They ran. Liara called after them. "Jake, wait!" He turned. She'd pulled herself upright. Silver blood leaked through her bandages. She shouldn't have been conscious, should have been dead. But Kael'thar royalty didn't die easy. "My father's flagship," she said. "The throne ship. Its shields have a rotating frequency. I can transmit the pattern, give you a window. That'll mark you as a traitor permanently. I marked myself when I chose truth. Finish it." Jake nodded, ran. Behind him, Liara transmitted codes that would make her exile permanent, that would paint a target on her for the rest of her life, however long that lasted. The fighter base smelled like fuel and fear. Pilots scrambled into cockpits. Young faces, old faces, all wearing the same expression. Determination carved from terror. Jake and Nina claimed fighters side by side. The controls felt familiar despite years away from them. Muscle memory kicked in. They launched into hell. Space burned with weapons fire. Debris tumbled everywhere. Ships, bodies, dreams atomized. Jake's fighter screamed through the chaos. Nina stayed on his wing. Perfect formation despite everything trying to kill them. "Frequency received," Nina reported. "Shield windows cycling every 40 seconds. "That's not much time." "It's enough." "Form up on me." They dove toward the throne ship, a massive vessel that dwarfed everything around it, shaped like a blade, armed like a fortress. Other fighters saw what they were attempting, joined them. A dozen became 20. 20 became 50. Humans converging on the Empire's heart. Point defense systems tore through their ranks. Fighters exploded. Screams cut short over the comm. Jake kept flying, kept pushing. The shield window opened. 3 seconds. They fired everything. Missiles, railgun slugs, laser batteries. All focused on one point. The throne ship's armor cracked. Just barely. Just enough. Secondary explosions rippled across its hull. Systems failed. The vessel listed. Dead in space, but not destroyed. Again, Jake shouted. Hit them again! The second wave came in. The shields failed completely this time. Human weapons chewed into vital systems. The throne ship began breaking apart. Escape pods launched. Kael'thar crew abandoning ship. Running. Vexner's voice cut across all frequencies. Enough. Cease fire. I'm calling retreat. The Empire fleet began withdrawing, jumping to faster than light, fleeing, actually fleeing, from humans, from a species they planned to harvest like livestock. The silence after felt heavier than the battle. Jake floated in his fighter surrounded by debris, by bodies, by the price of freedom. So many had died, but humanity had survived, had proven that harvest wasn't inevitable, that prey could become predators when cornered. Heaven's edge had held, Earth had held, the colonies had held, not through superior technology, not through military might, but through sheer stubborn refusal to surrender. Price's voice came through, tired, relieved. All ships return to base. We've got wounded to treat, dead to honor, and a galaxy to warn. Back at the station, Jake found Liara in medical, still alive, still fighting. Claire worked with Kael'thar medics who'd defected during the battle, turned against the Empire when they saw what humanity represented. We won, Jake said. You survived, Liara corrected. My father will return, better prepared, with more ships, more weapons. This was just the first battle. Then we'll fight the second and the third, however many it takes. Jake sat beside her. You gave us a chance. That's all we needed. Weeks passed. The transmission spread further. Other species under Empire control began questioning, resisting. The harvest program cracked as its victims learned they weren't alone. That resistance was possible. Humanity began preparing, building weapons, training soldiers, forming alliances with other species who'd suffered under Empire rule. The galaxy was changing, the old order crumbling. Jake stood on Haven's Edge observation deck, watching stars that suddenly seemed less distant, less cold. Nina joined him, battered but unbowed. Think we can really win this, she asked. I think we can make them regret starting it. That's enough. Lyra approached, walking on her own now, healing slowly. My father sent a message. He's declared me dead, erased from royal records. I'm no one now. You're someone, Jake said. You're the person who gave humanity a fighting chance. That's everything, she smiled. Alien features expressing very human emotion. Then I suppose I'm human now, by choice, if not by birth. Welcome to the species, Nina said. We're doomed, but we're doomed together. They stood watching the stars. 3 people from different worlds, united by a simple truth, that freedom was worth fighting for, that dignity mattered more than survival, that sometimes the weak could make the strong bleed. And somewhere in the dark, Vexner plotted his return, that he'd learned something too, that humanity didn't surrender, didn't break, didn't bow. The harvest was over. The war had just begun, and humans wouldn't go quietly into anyone's collection. They'd burn bright, and they'd make sure everyone remembered.